What's going on, everybody? Lauren with the TMF podcast. We're going to do a quick market recap. I know I didn't live stream all day today. I didn't live stream at all, actually, but I was watching the market. I did have some active swing trades, and I want to talk about what went down with me, my account, my trades, the mistakes I made, the mistakes I didn't make, and what I'm looking like going into tomorrow. But before we get started, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you'd like to know about more content coming out. I have all kinds of stuff, not just stock videos, but all kinds of things that I post. So you might find some of that interesting. And before we kick it off, I'm going to hit the intro and then we'll get on with this video. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on right now, why the market's so volatile. If you're not familiar, it's kind of earnings season, which means these companies report their revenue for the previous quarter, quarter three, 2021. Going into earnings, we have two things that kind of happen. Now, let's talk about why this is important and how it affects your stock plays, your option plays in the market. So we have two things that end up happening. We have stocks start to run up in anticipation of a company's earnings report, right? So we see that company is doing pretty well. People start buying the stock. It builds a little momentum, starts going up. Then what we see happen, more often than not, the companies have their earnings call, whether it's pre-market, post-market, and the stock tanks. And you're like, why did it sell off? And a good example of that we have that we can look at right now, people are probably freaking out, Netflix. Netflix had some really good quarter three numbers. More viewers subscribed, more revenue, everything was positive, and yet Netflix goes from 640 down to 625 or 622, or even look, a low of 617 today. So why does this happen? Well, if you bought Netflix when it was in the 500s and you rode it all the way up to 640 in anticipation that everything was good, and then the day it is good, you sold, took your profits. A lot of these players are not holding it for the long term. Now, does that mean that Netflix will not go back up? Absolutely not. It means that it will probably continue this bull flag pattern, but how far down will it go in the meantime? We don't know. But that's generally what happens. Now, the other thing that could happen is you have a stock that doesn't really have, I don't know, big expectations for profit, and you see something, come out and spike way up. Now, familiar one that does that, and I haven't looked at it today, but is Snapchat. Snapchat, I have seen Snapchat on earnings calls hit 10, 15, and 20% gains overnight and then just ride it out. Small little pullbacks and then just ride it out. Snapchat's done that, I think, because people sleep on it. It's not a very expensive stock when you're comparing it to something like Tesla or Netflix or Amazon, some of these bigger, Costco, bigger stocks. So when you see a stock like that, you're like, and let's be honest, a lot of the older generation don't pay attention to Snapchat. They don't realize that Snapchat is doing a lot of paid advertising now. Snapchat is doing a lot of payouts for content creators. They're building subscribers. They're expanding the whole brand. And so it's not surprising to see Snapchat crush earnings on the low, and then people go, oh, I want some of that, and buy into it. So what do we do on earnings days? These are gambles. Let's be completely honest. It can go either way. This is 100% what we consider a lotto. Now, I took a lotto on Netflix. It was a different type of lotto because Netflix's calls were so high. Oh, they're like astronomically high. So we took what's called a butterfly play, which is buy a call, sell two calls, buy a call, and a ladder. And the closer it gets to the day of expiration, the closer Netflix is to that number in the middle, the more money we make. Right now, not doing so hot. We really need to be around 660, 670 tomorrow to be in the median range of where those will actually be very profitable. For it to be semi-profitable, it needs to get closer to that. So maybe 640, 645. That's a huge move. Probably not going to happen. Probably going to lose some of that investment, but it was only $290. So if we lose $100, it's not that big a deal. Right? So let's move on to some plays that I watched that actually did really, really well. And we're going to start this off with Alibaba. Alibaba on the daily got slept on. It was in a serious downtrend. Now, if you trade Baba options, Baba does not have to move a crap ton for it to pay out. It only has to move a little bit, which is good news because sometimes it doesn't move much at all, but it does get spikes. But if you look here, Alibaba was in a serious downtrending pattern. It hit the bottom here. This is kind of around the Evergrande news with China. Are they going to default? What's going on? And then, we kind of went, okay, that doesn't affect us that much. And it got a pretty good bounce. Bounced up from like 138 all the way up to 160s, trading in the low 160s, high 160s. We've had some intermediate days, and then boom, rocket ship. Now, call that I bought on Alibaba went from about 325 all the way up to over $10 in one day. That's crazy gains, 400%. What I ended up doing is selling that option and then buying another call option for next week that was around the same original purchase price, and then rolling it out to see where it goes. So I bought the 180 strike, which today it actually hit 181 or something, 182. But I'm still green. We've got time on it. I'm not so worried about it because it's not going to expire this Friday. I think Alibaba will blow by 180, maybe 185, 190 by mid next week. That option's going to do just fine. So that was option one that did well. Another one that I did well on was Peloton. Now, Peloton, right here, we're going to pull this up, had a crazy swing play. The guys called it out in the Discord. A lot of them sold, didn't carry it over. They sold on this little down trend right here yesterday. It kind of rode back up, and it was green at the end of the day. And I'm like, well, we're swinging it anyway. It was a 90 call option. Peloton opened, spiked to 93.75, 400% hit on Peloton. Then it continued to sell off, which is not uncommon when you see these huge green moves to the upside. It has to cool off. They call it the RSI. It needs to calm down. It's too much too fast. So I got out of that trade, banked it. I think it was like $350 or $375 profit on that trade, which was amazing. I did not re-enter Peloton. I'll wait for it to figure out what it's going to do. Another one that went wild today, and I let me tell you, before I type this in there, this was called out in the Discord as a swing play. Most of the Discord, like I would probably say 95% of the guys sold it yesterday. They did not carry it. I swung it because I was like, well, I'm not going to go ahead and burn a day trade over this little amount. I try to save my day trades for a bigger move. So this is a FOMO, the FOMO for sure. Boom, Pinterest. If you didn't watch Pinterest today and see what happened with it, holy balls, did it go crazy. This is the definition of going to the moon. Pinterest spiked. It kind of went up and down a little bit. It was up good in the first of the morning, and then it was trading sideways. And I'm like, well, I don't want to lose on this. I'm just going to roll this into something else. So I sold right in this area for like $20 profit. It wasn't much. It was just up a little bit. At this point in the day, about 11:30 a.m., PayPal decides to release a press release saying that they are going to acquire Pinterest at the entire company at an average share price of $70. Pinterest was trading at $55. That's a $15 difference. You know what $15 does to a stock like this when you have a 65 call option that expires next week? The Discord was like, holy. Everyone freaked out. A couple guys were like, during the day, they were like, hey, I just got here. What happened to Pinterest? Holding a call. Man, you woke up to Boner Town. It spiked way up. I did not have mine still. I had already sold it. But if you held on to that sucker, congrats. Now, Pinterest on its earnings call last quarter sold off like 25%, 28%. It was rough. It was trading at like 80 something bucks, and then it tanked real hard. So where does it go from here? This is on unknown territory for me. This is just PayPal announcing it would like to buy it. They haven't purchased it. The deal is not done because that will put the median price will shoot up. I mean, the stock will be at $70 a share. That's what they're buying it at. So that's the target goal. Why would you buy a short anything below that? PayPal is going to pay $70 a share according to that release. Why would you think it's going to be less? So calls on pins, but let it cool off a little bit. Let it cool off a little bit. They're going to be too expensive. Let's see what happens. Another one here that ended up just kind of going sideways for me was Boeing. Boeing had a decent little run up and then it came back down. No real news as to why that happened. It just did. So I actually sold my Boeing call that I had that was more in the money. I took a little profit on that. It was like $25 again. I didn't want to risk the theta eating it up. I still have this option, this 222.5 over here that I'll probably ditch tomorrow just because it was less expensive. And I just didn't want to just get rid of it. We'll just play it out and see what happens. So Boeing, not too sure. Lucid had a great morning and then just tanked. Again, I can't tell you why this stock is moving in this direction like this. It's kind of creating a weird pattern here. Could be a head and shoulders, could fall back to 22 on the daily chart, which would suck. But that is a very head and shoulders pattern. If it does bounce off support here at 24, then we could see another move to the upside. The entire reason we're in the Lucid Motors trade is because they are going to start releasing vehicles. Like, people are going to actually be driving Lucid Motors vehicles down the road within hopefully the next 30 days. That's the anticipation. That's the buildup. We'll see if it actually happens. We'll see how the stock reacts. Now, one that really kind of bummed me out more than anything, more than any of my trades, was BBIG. BBIG, man, look, they had their little earnings call. The CEO, the CFO resign. This thing hits 28% down. I only bought one contract. It was not expensive. It was like $80. And, if you lose $80 on a trade, it's like whatever on this one. So, but still, you didn't see it coming. The earnings were terrible. It sold off. Kaboom goes that one. Now the option spread on it is still 50-cent plays. So you're not really that far away. If you were buying puts, they probably printed pretty hard if you had a put on that, but who knows, man. We could see it recover. We honestly could. Now, moving forward, actually, after the last one, Facebook. Facebook did okay at open today. I did swing Facebook. It had a nice spike up. It fell down. It started to recover, and then it just traded sideways. This was kind of most of the market kind of did this. Now, moving on to what happened to me today, and the one that I just kicked myself square in the balls doing, and this is not the fault of the person who called it out, because I would never have even looked at it today. But I saw a call out on the Discord for IWM, which is the Russell 2000 ETF. Now, he called it out kind of toward the middle of the day, lunchtime. And he called out a 227 put. I was a few minutes late to the party. I bought some. He said 227 put, going heavy. Cool. Let's get a quick scalp on this or something. Well, I bought it and I ate it. I didn't eat the whole thing, but I loaded up some contracts. I averaged down. And at one point in the day, it was up a decent amount, but it moved so fast and my sell order didn't fill. I ended up taking like a 50% hit on this trade. I kicked myself for doing it because I told myself we're not going to do that. And I didn't, I was telling myself I'm going to follow more of the Discord trades. And I should have taken a second to really look at it and go, did I miss it? Unfortunately, the guy who called it out he was just not on the Discord. So he had connectivity problems or whatever. He didn't post anything, but he had already gotten out of the trade for a profit by the time we had realized, anyone else that had gotten in, that it was going the wrong direction. So, lesson learned. At one point, it did spike down. I was green, and I was really kind of seeing if it was going to hold that reversal. They just moved so fast. Lesson learned, if it's green, get out on 0 DTE. Just get the F out of it on that regard. I mean, it is what it is. So, moving forward into tomorrow, what am I looking at to happen? Tesla, I think, is going to, after their earning report, which was awesome, we have a little pullback here. This is not huge, 1.5%. It's not crazy. It's actually 1.3% as it sits right now at 7 o'clock, 850. I think that Tesla had a lot already priced into it at its price. It ran up so damn high. I mean, it ran up like from 770, freaking blew past 800, damn 880. It was crazy. Way high, way overbought. If we look at the daily RSI on it, it's freaking 78. It's way up. It's got to come down somewhere. It can't go straight to space. but we'll see how it reacts. We'll see also if there's any other news that comes out because of this. You know, they had news on the Boring Company, build more tunnels in Vegas and stuff. We'll see what comes, but can't get into Tesla. Tesla's more of like a Friday YOLO play. That's when you can afford to buy some of these crazy run out the money options. I mean, look at how high they are. Even if you want to go on a call option for Friday, the cheapest option you're getting your hands on, this is not true. We need to show all of them. Because you can go way deep. You can go to $1,700. It's so crazy. They thought it was going to go to the moon. But even like a 900 strike option right now, which would have been a YOLO for real last week, is $500. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't trade Tesla on a small account. It's so risky. Let the big boys play with that one. Now, moving forward, what am I looking at tomorrow? What did I swing? I still swung my Netflix butterfly. They called out Riot. I jumped on Riot at the end of the day. I wish I would have waited a slightly bit longer, but I was leaving the house and it's going to get yelled at if I was on my phone. So I took a couple contracts on Riot. We'll see. Bitcoin's pretty high up there. Riot kind of trades with Bitcoin. It should. It's a mining company, but we'll see what comes of it. All we really need to do, we took 32 calls. So if we can get past today's high, would be amazing. I don't know if we're going to see that, but we might, in which case those will print just fine. Sorry, I had a call, so this is going to pick up weird, but swinging Riot. Riot could see another upside move based on Bitcoin movement. Maybe it'll fill this gap. It's a lot of green on this chart. And look, man, I get real suspicious that the candles here, this candlestick right here on the daily is indecisive. It's an indecisive move, right? This one here is also indecisive. It's a little bit more bullish than that one, but we're hoping maybe we'll see another move of like 3-4% tomorrow, in which case those calls are print hard. So let's move on to the next one that we're swinging. I picked Disney. Why did I pick Disney? Because, well, Disney is looking to fill this cup on this 4-hour right here. That's what we're hoping to have happen. It's trading lower. Look, it was at 180 not that long ago where it spiked up and came down. I think we're going to see somewhat of a reversal in these. It's a small account play. It doesn't require a ton of capital. I actually bought a call for next week expiration at 172.5. That call option was 159. So looking for something to move to the upside. And it's also close to the strike price, right? So we bought a 172.5. It's at 170.55. It's not a big move for the next week for it to move up. So playing Disney, I think Disney will do an attempt here to form a cup. It is a little bit of a double top. Maybe we'll see a little bit of a continuation here and hopefully get a bounce right off this bottom as this is support for Disney. When we look at it across the 4-hour chart, we do have a nice supporting trend line. We draw a horizontal line right here. We could go down a little bit, but let's look for Disney to bounce off of this and start moving back into the upper direction. What's one more that we've got here that how can I forget? How could I forget? There is a YouTuber who streams this stock and this stock almost exclusively. He believes the stock will go to like $70. I will give you a hint. It's nowhere near $70. But the stock that I chose to run a put on today, at the end of the day, I was like, I'm buying puts on this. It's none other than Microvision. MViz, man, look at that big green engulfing candle. Build this giant gap. Microvision, bro, if you are out there hoping Microvision goes back to $30, $40, $50, $70, it's not going to happen. Microvision is going to need a serious acquisition of itself. Someone needs to buy it. Right now, there is no news or no prospects of even buying this company. They might test out some of the LiDAR on something or some of the other patents, but it had a 7.5 move to the upside. It was actually higher than that. I just wasn't watching because I was so tunnel visioned in on IWM. It was at 1076 today. That move right there is probably some sort of short interest cover going into earnings, going into the end of the week. And I expect this thing to come back down to earth tomorrow, probably below 10. So what did I swing on this bad boy? And this is also a put for next week's expiration. I'm trying to play a slightly less risky game after getting burned on IWM today. So I'm giving myself a little bit of breather for tomorrow, especially since I am swinging everything through tomorrow or further out. No day trades tomorrow on this Robinhood account at all. I want to be safer. I think it will come back down. There is no reason for it to go back up. It's not going to come back down to no damn dollar, but bouncing low. If you're just looking at the chart at the weekly, if you look at our daily chart, this is in a very downward trending area, and its support could be anywhere. Look, if we want to say, look, we're going to draw a line on this one. If you want to say our bottom support right here, $7, it's probably not going to get that low, but it's broken past this 1028, which was its previous support low. It really needs to get back over 12 to do something special and start moving up. I think you're probably going to float somewhere in this $10, $9, $8 range. I think we expect to see that coming. We know they don't have any sales. Microvision isn't really selling stuff. They're not profitable. They haven't been profitable in 20-something years. So there's no reason for this thing to rocket battle up. You want to play about short interest, short squeeze. It's not squeezing. None of this shit is squeezing. You might have some covers, but overall, people are going to make money to the downside of Microvision, for sure. Let's look and see if I don't think I had any other plays, but I did buy a on that play. It is a $10 put, which puts my break-even price at $9.40. So Microvision was clearly close to that at market open. It was at $9.64. The day before, it was below that. I think we come back down and touch that again. And it's an inexpensive contract. This is a $60 contract. If it goes to $100, party on. Let it go. So that covers what I'm looking at right now. I'm going to be watching other stocks in the market and just not playing with them yet. I'll also be doing day trades from a $200 account and see how far we can grow that. And we're going to recover this thing. We're going to recover our loss today. It was a stupid mistake. Just held on a little too long, but to my own credit, I didn't hold on to the end. So if you're out there trading this, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll live stream tomorrow for sure, for a while. Not the whole day, but some of it. And let's all make some money out there. Good luck. And also, if you'd like to learn investing or start open an account, there are links in the description for Robinhood and WEBULL, and you get 2 free stocks worth up to, let's be honest, they're probably going to give you like a $5 or $10 or a $15 stock. They're not going to give you, most people don't get Apple. But if you want 2 free stocks, click the link down below. And if you need help or assistance, leave a comment. Do my best to help you out.